Hey, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is MJ Khan, and this is my first sort of proper video that I'm recording. Normally I just upload uh, talks that I've given or webinars that I've hosted, and I really want to make it more personable. I want to make it about me, and it's daunting. It really is, to just sit in front of the camera and record. But if I don't start now, I never will. So I'm just pushing myself and I'm going to record a few videos and, let's see what happens. I'm shooting it from my son's bedroom. So that's his elephant Emily there and all the other sort of toys that belong to me that I'm sort of hoping he'll get into one day. So Yoshi, there's the blue shell from Mario Kart, Sonic with Mario's hat. And yeah, so this is my setting. I like this room a lot. Mostly because it's like it's going to be the fun room and it's going to be the room where you let loose and you have fun. So I'm hoping that that vibe sort of translates into me just having fun, just shooting videos and just seeing what happens. Not to do anything except to push myself to do something. So yeah, thanks so much for that 1 minute ramble. And for my first video, 2 months ago, I asked on social media, I asked people, tell me if you have any social media questions. Let me tackle a few of them, and I think I'll do that on a recurring basis. So as you're watching this, if you have questions about social media marketing, digital marketing, pop it in the comments. Let's chat about these things. I think, given my experience and sort of where I am, I'm very comfortable with sharing both my successes, my failures, and also like demystifying a lot of social media marketing. I think again, I'm in a privileged position because my end goal isn't, to sell you a course or to get you to follow my methodology or anything like that there, and I'm not sort of actively hunting for a job. So I'm simply here just to share some knowledge, hopefully, and to sort of help you on your journey, to give you a framework to unlock the best you can do for your own social media. So I'm going to turn now and then to the side because I've like scribbled notes in terms of who asked me what, and then we'll just chat about it. So first question comes up from a great colleague of mine, Talene. Very supportive of everything I do. So Talene, shout out to you. And she wants to know what are my thoughts on influencer marketing. And really, that's a bit of a buzzword these days, right? And sometimes it's met with a bit of cynicism or skepticism, where people are like, influencer marketing. It's people who just want stuff for free. So it has become a bit of a pejorative term of late. But the idea of influencer marketing has always really existed, because the idea of celebrity has existed, the idea of endorsement has always existed. So Tiger Woods, for example, his relationship with Nike or Michael Jordan, or even if you look out of the sports world and maybe George Clooney in Nespresso, the idea of celebrity endorsements and celebrity influence and perhaps attaching a brand to a personality, that's nothing new. I think what's happened though recently is we're seeing the rise of a more democratized rise of like just the average person who can create a passion point online, create a community around a certain passion, and brands see the value in that. And again, often, it's met with derision and skepticism. Personally, I find that if I were to go into an influencer relationship with individuals to represent the brand I work for, I would perhaps apply a lot of scrutiny to that because when you think of influencer marketing, for me, I really think of two areas. I think of credibility and reach. So you can have a lot of reach, right? So you could be someone with like 1 million followers on Instagram, but if you don't have credibility, so you don't have that authentic sort of point of view with regards to a brand, you're not known for being associated with certain keywords or certain industries or whatever it is, you don't have that credibility, then all brands are doing, by employing you is really trying to get some reach. Because at the end of the day, it's like just going to another media channel. So you're sort of like trying to get reach out of that person. On the other end of the spectrum, you might have the most credibility in the world. Like you might be an expert in your field, postdoctorate, or someone who's just really an expert at things. As Malcolm Gladwell likes to say, 10,000 hours into something. makes you an expert. I like to joke, people who read Malcolm Gladwell will spend 10,000 hours telling you about it. And you might have a lot of credibility. But if you don't have that audience, then what's the value of that credibility? Because it limits your ability to influence. It limits your ability to then push a brand narrative or to really be effective at something. So it's that constant balance for me between, on one hand, I've got credibility, on the other hand, there's reach. And how do the two go together? And if I was sort of like pushed into a corner and said, what's more important? And I think for me, I would start with credibility and I would look at how I can amplify reach as opposed to attaching a brand to someone with a lot of followers, but without the credibility to actually make that relationship meaningful. So yeah, I mean, if I look at my career in advertising, I did a lot of influencer marketing, back in like 2013, 2014, for different brands, toothpaste brands and things like that. And back then, it was a bit problematic because you'd think that, for a toothpaste brand, you would go and maybe speak to someone who's got an amazing smile, and you tap into that, or a dentist, or someone with some level of connection that's inherent or makes sense for the brand. But I know when we did it, we sort of said, okay, so this person's got 30,000 Twitter followers. That's great. And back then, I mean, 6 years ago, it was a reach game, but we never understood it like that. And what I'm really sort of excited about is like the rise of these micro influencers, nano influencers. It's the rise of identifying people who are already in the trenches. They're already passionate brand advocates. They haven't been given anything. They love the brands. It makes sense. It's a natural fit for them. And then looking at how you can build on those relationships as a brand and take things forward. So, for example, if we were to run a fuel campaign for our energy colleagues, I would then look and say, who are those motoring journalists? Who are those petrol heads? Who are those who already have built a community around that interest? And how do we engage with them? As opposed to saying, okay, there's some random chap with 100,000 followers. Let's, give him a script and say, please tweet. Yeah, so that's really my take on influencer marketing. And as I talk about this, I realize I'm already on the 7 minute mark. I thought if I did like 2 or 3 questions, I could knock it out in 3 minutes. But either I love the sound of my voice, which is true sometimes. You get used to it over time. At first, you're like, oh, do I really sound like that? But yeah, I guess time's just going. So maybe I'll just do one more question this round, and then we'll do a follow-up video for the other questions. So that I can space this out a bit. And I'm obviously gonna wear my same shirt, but just act like it's a new day or whatever it is. So next question I'm gonna answer is from Safia Suji. Again, wonderful person. Really appreciate all the support she gives whenever I try anything. Always there to support. And she wants to know, what's the best way to kickstart social media marketing? Now, I'm going to do a cheap plug here. So, the first video I uploaded to my channel is actually like a 90-minute video where I share a framework I've developed for developing a content strategy for social media, or other content strategy for brands. Because I think when you talk about social media, at that point, you're bringing it down to a channel level. And before you get to channel, there's so much other stuff you need to do. But for me, it really goes back to, what are your objectives? What are you trying to achieve with your marketing objectives that'll meet your business goals? And never ever separate that, when we talk about social media marketing, don't get so enthralled with the platform. Go back and say, what is the objective? What am I trying to achieve in the short term, the medium term, the long term? What do I need to do from a business perspective? Do I need to grow volume? Do I need to launch a certain SKU, create awareness? Do I need a referral program in terms of getting loyalty and repeat purchases? Like what's that business goal? And normally it's very simple, right? It's like sales. And then who am I talking to? Who's my target audience? Is there a certain niche I have in mind? Because remember, you're not going to target everyone, right? You're not oxygen. So is there a specific target market that I have in mind, or is there a loose target market and I just want to test? Because sometimes we limit ourselves because we try and predefine everything up front. We don't give an opportunity to understand the different new pockets that might exist that we never even thought about. I mean, there's potential brand advocates that we might have dismissed because they didn't fit our assumptions of what we thought the audience was. So first, I'd ask, what's the objective? Not what your marketing objective is, but what do you want to achieve from a business perspective? What do you need to achieve in the short term? Then I'll say, who do you want to talk to? So what do you want to do? Who do you want to talk to? And that takes care of your sort of your objective, like your context and your content. What do you want to tell them? So who do you want to talk to? What do you want to achieve? And the people you're going to talk to, what do you want to tell them? What is it about your brand that's compelling? What is it about your services, your products that require them to sit up and say, okay, I'm interested. I'm going to go on this journey and I'm going to convert. So once you figure that out, once you figure out what you're going to tell them, what's credible for your brand, what's valuable to them, where you meet them in terms of creating something valuable for them, then you talk about channel. So often with social media marketing, we hear things like, you need a Facebook strategy, or you need an Instagram strategy, or now TikTok is the big thing, let's jump on TikTok. Without asking the fundamental questions, what do you want to achieve? Who do you want to talk to? What do you want to tell them? When you figure those three things out, then you say, okay, which channels are best suited for my objectives? And often the channel isn't the channel that's the most flashiest or the channel that has the most users in the world. It's the channel that really pushes your business objective, and let that guide you. And then after that, what are the controls in place? How are you going to measure success? And the important thing around digital is sometimes we get so fixated on digital metrics. So we get fixated about growth and engagement and how many followers I have and how many video views you got. But you can have all those video views in the world, but if people aren't converting, if they aren't purchasing, if they aren't supporting your business, what's the use of it? It's like those TV ads where you remember the joke and it's really funny and it's cute, but you never remember the brand itself. It's divorced from it. So is that an effective TV ad? No, it's not. And similarly, you could have like these short-term campaigns, where like and share and stand a chance to win whatever, and but ask yourself, like, you're sort of getting an audience based on their desire to win something. You're not really building an audience that wants to support your brand, especially when you have these competitions and you don't link it to sales or transaction or something meaningful for your brand. How many of the brands these days are just saying like and share and tag a bunch of friends, but what are you doing in that competition that promotes your brand? What are you doing in that competition to make sure that you give people a compelling reason to stay on your page? I mean, how many of these pages, run these competitions to win video game consoles, and the moment the winner is announced, so many of those followers, they just drop off. They're like, oh yeah, yeah, actually, I don't care about this brand. I just wanted to win a console, but like whatever. And think about it, right? So we as human beings, I mean, you don't even have to think of someone else. I mean, think of yourself. I mean, I'm gonna think about myself. I'm not brand loyal to a bunch of brands, I mean, sure, there's some brands that I love and I'm going to support them, but if there's a competition, I'm loyal to winning. I'm loyal to entering competitions and getting free stuff. I don't care about a brand a lot of the time. So when brands create those competitions, what they're telling you is, this is how we want you to engage with us. This is how we want you to value us. Not because we have something great from a product perspective, not because we link a competition to some form of transaction or sale or engagement that's meaningful. It's like, no, we just want the numbers. We want like 5,000 Instagram followers. So please tag 10 friends and share this to your story. So yeah, I think that's something we need to think about. So with that, got a bunch of other questions from a lot of friends on Facebook. Really appreciate it. But I'm gonna cut this video off now. We're already running 14 minutes, and I'm gonna shoot 2 more videos tonight. Keep an eye out for my next video. It's gonna be about gaming and which gaming console I'm choosing first, between the Xbox Series X or Series S and the PlayStation 5. And this is going to be quite helpful for a lot of the undecided gamers out there, or even those who might have perhaps been only playing on one console and just want to know like what's new, what's cool, what should they invest in. And then I'll do a third video tonight, hopefully, and I'll answer all the other questions that I got on social media. Well, I'll answer 2 of them because I had no idea that this thing's going to end up being 15 minutes. But if you're with me so far, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for sticking around. Really trying to grow the channel, and I'm trying to make it meaningful so a lot of people can benefit. So please, if this has value to you, share the channel, connect with me on the different social media platforms, send me questions that you want me to answer, and let's just build this thing together. Okay, with that, shukran, and I'll see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum.